What's up, people? It's your boy Profection back again for another video. This one is the power of positivity. It's continuing off from my previous video, which is the power of a smile. Okay, before we get into the positive things, I think it's good to start on the negative first, really, the power of negativity. The first example I want to use really is the rice in the jar. And there's two examples of this. There's a seed in the jar and the rice in the jar, and basically what they did is they had two jars. They placed rice into one of the jars, and also had a rose, but that was a separate experiment. But it's the same similar thing what they done with this one. Right, so two jars. They put rice into one of the jars, and they put the word hate on one of the jars, and they put the word love on the other jar. Okay, people were told to focus, so on a daily basis they were told to focus their hatred on the jar labeled hate, and they were told to focus positive emotions on the jar labeled love. Okay, after about a week or so, they went back to look at the jar and compare the differences. What they found out was that the jar labeled hate had rapidly decayed. A lot of it started to turn black and dark. What they noticed is that the jar labeled love was still kind of relatively fresh. It was still usable. If anything, I think they discovered that it was actually prolonged. It was past its kind of it was part. You could still use it basically. Okay, it still had its life in it, so it was still usable. So what did they learn? What they learned from that was that thinking negative thoughts or projecting it onto someone has an amazing impact. Somewhere in the Bible mentions the same thing. It says don't focus your hate, don't hate on anyone, don't think about constantly badness of people, whatever, or focus those kind of things on them, because a lot of the times these things will happen. What else is there? In fact, I would even go as far as to say, if there is such a thing as witchcraft, then that's probably what it would be. It would be focusing your hate on someone, obsessively doing it. What else? There was a program called EastEnders, and there was a fictional character named Nasty Nick. If people remember, I think it was late 90s, and Nasty Nick was a character that was a wife beater. He had a woman called Mo, and I think, I'm not 100% correct on it because this is going back a long time ago, I think he hit Mo at one stage. I think he may have put her head in the toilet. I'm not so sure. He might have done something like that. The main point of what I'm trying to get to is that when people saw this on TV, it invoked such hatred in them. And some people failed to believe that it was fictional. Some people actually were so, it affected them in such a big way that they had to start sending him the character Nasty Nick, I can't remember his real name, but they had to start sending him hate mail. Nick, we're going to kill you. Nick, if we see you, we're going to do this. How could you do that to Mo, and this and that? I don't know whether he received a brick through his window or something like that. I don't even know whether he moved. What I do know is that he was in the program for several months after, and then he kind of disappeared. We didn't see him from Nasty Nick again. What I want you to imagine is what he must have felt, because again, this is just a job. This is just acting to him, or he thought it was. Like most actors and actresses, they always think it's just a job in the beginning, and then they realize what it entails and how they may have sold themselves out. This wasn't the dream that was portrayed to them when they first saw it on TV. That has a very nasty side to it. But imagine walking down the road and you're just filled with hate. Go back to the example of the grain in a jar, and imagine that people are looking at you with angry eyes. When you're walking down the road, you can almost feel anger. You turn around and someone's there, and you can feel it. These kind of things, like I mentioned in my mental health video, they do have a very bad effect on you. What it does is it starts to break down your immune system, and then your body isn't able to fight a lot of the things that's it's being attacked from. colds, flus, viruses. Then you'll develop other things. There's things like bone mineral density, the strength of your bones, all kinds of things that just kind of, it doesn't function properly. The body starts to break down. So that's the power of negativity. You know, now that we understand what that is, we understand that, you know, even though we have events in our lives where people have really ticked us off, they've done something to really annoy us and we're really angry about it, that it's kind of a world, it's kind of good versus evil, you know. So in order for us to be pure and wholesome and spiritual, we can't allow those things to kind of impact us in a way where we then become a part of what we hate. You know, we then start to, you know, an eye for an eye, shall I say, because then we become like what we hate, you know. What else was I going to say? Something that was important. If I can't think of that, I'll move on to the positivity and then we'll get back to it later. Alright, so positive things. Yeah, that's what I was going to say about the negative. The last thing I'll say on the negative is this. When you're faced with a situation like that, where a whole nation, or you feel, because remember, a lot of the times it's how we perceive things as well. You know, there's things, you know, it's how we perceive it. It may not even be the case, but it's how we perceive it. But when we're perceived as being someone that is hated on, someone that is disliked, and we believe it's by a large number of people, you know, like I think of the WWE, when you have your heels in WWE, which stands for, like, you know, you're now playing the role of a bad character, and this person's turned heel. From face, they've turned heel, good to bad. The script is designed so that people hate them and things like that. When you're going out there, out into an arena or stadium, and all those people are shouting and hating on you, you have to be a very, very strong character, you know. And that strength really comes from when you're a child, and they say the very first 2 years of your life are important, you know. Although I believe it's the first 5 years. I believe that the very first 5 years of a child's life, if you give them plenty of love, plenty of guidance, moral support and things like that, then they're able to overcome, from that age on there, whatever they're kind of faced with, they're strong enough to deal with it, you know. When you're walking out into an arena and that many people are hating on you, either you've come from a very strong background, yeah, you have something like religion or faith, or the negative side of it, you'd have to be some sort of psychopath. You'd have to be some sort of sociopath, because they're the only, apart from the former examples I use of positive people, they're the only other people that can get away with something like that, can walk around maybe not being the nicest person, upsetting people, maybe even enjoying the fact that people don't like them. This would have to be a sociopath or psychopath, because no one else, no human being is able to function like that. We all need love and we all need support. Let's get into the positive sides of things. So I think, yeah, so the positive really is very much the opposite of what I was describing about negativity. It's the fact that you can, what it does is uplifts someone. People will say that their faces look younger in their faces. They say their skin tends to look better. Person will generally smile more. That's why it's related to my last video. Again, there'll be a beacon of light. They'll be emitting that positivity, that radiance that will uplift people. Positivity, you know, what makes me laugh is as well as animals, because if we think of dogs and pets and things like that, when people are sad, we bring them in, because they don't understand about this politics of life. That, you know, they don't really understand about hate as well. They do what, if they hate, it's because they need to prolong their lives. They're doing this to prolong it. They're doing it because they have to. But animals are filled with love. So when I think of animals, I always do smile. I've got a cat, and it's too much love with her. You know, that will be another video. Unfortunately, some people and animals deserve too much love, too much attention, and that can be a negative thing. But yeah, positivity, support, it can do a world of things. You know, it keeps us strong as well. You know, we're able to if it was a gym, I'm able to lift more with positivity. You know, if someone's cheering me on, come on, Luke, do this. Just like with the WWE, if they're chanting positive things, we're talking about 200,000 in an arena, they're chanting positive things. You're able to do things that most normal men, even yourself, wouldn't be able to do. You know, it empowers you. You know, you're able to, you know, to do things that you never thought was possible. You know, positivity for children, again, the very first 5 years of their life has to be something positive. It has to be something you have to. That's why I haven't had a child yet, I'll be honest with you, is because I don't know whether at this point in time, I don't know whether I can do those 5 years of straight. I don't know where I'm at that. I don't know if I'm at that point in my life now where if I was to have a child, I could devote straight 5 years of being positive and not being a negative person. So that's why I haven't had children. But these things are important. You know, positivity is important. You know, positivity in your workplace environment, positivity around your family, positivity around your friends, and don't let people take that away from you. You know, if you do have someone that is focusing negative energy on you, then maybe try reading the Bible. Try reaching out to people for support, because I think a lot of us are suffering, like things like domestic violence. A lot of us are being bullied, and we're afraid to reach out. You know, but you'd be surprised just how many people care about you out there. So if you're experiencing these things, don't sit there in silence and suffer. Reach out, you know. And I think that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it about positivity. Try to PMA, positive mental attitude. Always see an answer. It doesn't always come straight away. That sometimes it may be stages. You don't leap from one thing to another, but see it in stages. You know, positivity. And and I hope you're having a positive day now. And so this video is important because, you know, we all deserve support. We all deserve love. And to my family, if any of them are watching this, I just want you to know that I love you. We do, you know, I sometimes I do go through the motions or whatever. I do have my own problems, my own battles, and sometimes it causes me to be a bit isolated or whatever. But I love you. I think you're all doing well. I think the world of you guys. I think that you know, all of us, all of my family are proven to be strong. You know, all of them. You know, within their own right. You know, don't worry about what somebody else has told you or how somebody else is you know, is doing. I can tell you within your own right, you're all champions. All of you are, you know. And I love you all. And take care, people. Have a nice day and keep smiling. Peace.